So apart from their 4-2 victory at the start of the season, Liverpool have actually won or lost every single game this season by only one goal. And I think this is a really interesting point to make. Obviously, Slot recently has been saying, if you don't score from a set piece and then you concede a set piece, obviously these are the kinds of things that can change games. You usually get a good few chances via set pieces every single match. Against Brentford, we obviously conceded from a set piece from that long throw-in. And in general, I think these things are really, really interesting to point out, because this is something that I don't think a lot of people have even talked about or even recognised in Liverpool's game this season, is that even though we are scoring a fair amount of goals, because we're conceding so many goals, we are ending up losing these games. But really, only losing by one goal in so many games is a bit tough to take, and probably a bit more annoying than maybe just getting thrashed in games, if I'm being honest. Even against Brentford, and we played so poorly against them, we still only lost by one goal, 3-2 in the end. And I think it's a really interesting distinction to make, I should say, because I think not a lot of people are really talking about this. Obviously, we lost against Chelsea and Crystal Palace in basically the final kick of the game as well, when those games could have easily been 1-1. And if you think of some of the very odd and bizarre decisions that have happened in the past few games against Liverpool, had gone a different way, we could have come out with a lot more draws than we actually might have done, especially against Man United. Obviously, I think that penalty decision against Brentford was also just a ludicrous decision in my opinion. Definitely not a penalty for me. The most minute of contact from Van Dijk on the attacker, and in reality, in my opinion, potentially not even inside the box. If you look at some of the freeze frames, the game before, obviously Man United score off the back of an advantage given against a Liverpool player despite there being a head injury, where in reality pretty much every single head injury that I've ever seen in a match since then has been given as a instantaneous stoppage of play. I actually watched my dad's team Aston Villa play Man City yesterday, and I saw exactly the same thing happen. Basically, Michael Oliver saw a head injury and then instantaneously blew the whistle about 2 seconds after the head injury happened, even though the ball was still in a dangerous position for Man City. The ball had turned over to Aston Villa, but he blew the whistle straight away, and that's what he should have done against Man United as well. So there are definitely some dodgy and unusual decisions going on in this bad run of form for Liverpool as well. Losing 1-0 against Galatasaray as well, when you think the only reason that they scored and won that game was that really, really dodgy penalty decision against us as well. You can see why some Liverpool fans are feeling a little bit annoyed and a little bit hard done by, because some of these decisions have been pretty unusual in my opinion. And obviously losing games by one goal when you think you could easily get back into them is annoying. But I think it all comes down to obviously Liverpool last season conceding very, very few goals. I think we've conceded twice as many goals as we did at this point last season pretty much, and also probably not scoring as many. Obviously against Frankfurt we did score a lot of goals, but they've been in pretty bad form themselves. And playing against the teams that we've played recently, the Premier League, more difficult than ever in my opinion to get a result. A very competitive league at the minute with lots of mid-table teams playing really well and getting results all the time. I think you've seen that over the past few weeks. Lots and lots of mid-table teams getting results against bigger teams, and just in general playing much better. Obviously long direct football, fast wingers, lots of interesting stuff going on, set pieces being worked on and being utilised. Lots of interesting aspects of the game at the minute. And I think Liverpool, I think if we're going to be conceding so many goals, we need to be scoring more. And then obviously with the general lack of form for our whole team and the lack of cohesion that we've seen, it's been difficult for Liverpool to score goals. I think in some of the games we've been unlucky. Obviously against Man U, Gakpo hit the post 3 times, and he also missed a sitter which could have easily been a goal. We could have probably won that game 3-4, 5, maybe even 6-2 if some of the goals had gone in. Obviously not our day that day. Against Brentford though, we didn't really look like creating many chances at all. We had a few chances that we could have taken, but in reality it's not the kind of thing that you expect when Liverpool are not creating so many chances in a match. And I think it's the main thing. Like I said, when Klopp first came in, we actually went through a period of being really good offensively and really bad defensively, and we'd basically be playing these basketball matches of trying to outscore the opponent. And I think if we're going to be in this situation where we're struggling to defend at the minute, we need to be outscoring the opponent and taking our chances. I think Liverpool have had a lot of chances that have been missed this season, big chances as well. It's not like we aren't creating chances in these games. We've created a good amount of chances in every game, but we're just not putting them in. Being a bit more clinical is going to be the way for Liverpool to start getting some results, in my opinion. The defence obviously has been all over the place. I think Alisson is a big miss. I think he probably saves us a goal a game. And Konate at the minute for me, as I've said in previous videos, has been extremely out of sorts. And in my opinion, he's been costing us a goal, maybe even 2 goals a game at the minute. Just looks completely out of position and almost a little bit distracted, like maybe his head's in Madrid already, which I did a video on. But overall, Liverpool at the minute, definitely out of sorts. And in my opinion, despite the fact that we're not playing that well, still not that far away from getting results, are we? Despite how awful it has been of a watch recently in terms of, on the eyeball test. Every single game this season, won or lost, has been by 1 goal. And you think if you can just get those coefficients a bit more in our favour, maybe score 1 more goal a game from a set piece, concede 1 less goal a game from a set piece, all of a sudden a lot of these results start looking like draws and wins rather than losses, which I think is something that Slot has been focusing on. Obviously, he's very analytical and he analyses the game after and explains what he thinks happened. And he always talks about the set pieces. Every single game you have a chance to score from a set piece. If you score that goal from a set piece like we did against Frankfurt, when it was 1-1, we scored those 2 headers from corners and that basically killed the game off for Frankfurt. They never looked like coming back into it after that. That's definitely the kind of thing that we need to be doing for Liverpool in the Premier League as well, because obviously we're struggling to just get these results over the line, but we're still not that far away. And I trust Slot to turn it around. I'm not too concerned still. Obviously, things have been disappointing recently, but I don't think we've been that far away from getting a result. Even though the team has looked like it's a bit out of sorts, I think we still need to give players time to bed in. And obviously, at the minute, the injuries are racking up. Alisson, Gravenberch, Isak, Frimpong. We've got Curtis Jones is injured now. McAllister still doesn't look fit. Obviously, Leone had that cruciate ligament injury, which is absolutely grim. Just in general, a lot of players looking like they're in and out of being fit. And right now, it's looking a bit like we're going into this period now, looking a bit thin on the ground. We really need to see some players coming into form and dragging the team up the pitch. Szoboszlai's been amazing, obviously, but a lot of players looking like they really need to take a good look at themselves, as Van Dijk said after the Brentford game, and figure out what's going on. So overall, I think Liverpool are going to be fine. As I've been saying in every video, I think they'll get better as the season goes on, but going through a rough patch at the minute where they still need to kind of find this new identity with all the new players in the team. So looking like they're not far away from winning games, still losing games just by 1 goal, or winning games by 1 goal. I think we just need to work on those tiny little percents that are going to turn those losses into draws and wins. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. Please do like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.